A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Nerf Secrets Revealed. And here we are now with part 3 of 4 of the 4 episodes in one day marathon that I had set up just to end this phase of the change that I am still currently making for the Nerf Secrets Revealed franchise itself. Now, of course, what I would like to talk about here in part 3 of 4 will be about how many Nerf blasters have I collected throughout the years. Well, of course, this is actually quite a good question that I have asked myself how many times within the last 10 years at least, because the story tends to go further back than anybody's ever thought, really. Because my obsession with Nerf ultimately started around the turn of the 2010s, although my collection didn't start until a few years prior to 2010. So, here we go. It all started in 2007 when I had bought a Recon CS6. And the Recon CS6, of course, was the first ever Nerf blaster that I had ever gotten. And eventually, by 2010, I had discovered that Nerf was in fact a really big brand out there. So, I thought to myself, why shouldn't I collect more Nerf blasters? And so, that's what led to me eventually getting a few other blasters in the year 2010 alone. But with the years 2011 to 2013, my collection of Nerf blasters grew much larger. With the addition of other N-Strike blasters, and eventually the N-Strike Elite blaster starting in 2012, my collection was growing at an astonishing rate. And I couldn't really tell exactly how many I should have been collecting because of how much money I was spending on all of them, but I guess that's probably alright, because nowadays, from what you might already tell, especially if you have seen the live action Nerf shootout video that I made months ago last year, you would have seen exactly how many Nerf blasters I had gotten rid of, to be real. Because, of course, with the deduction of older Nerf blasters, I would be able to add on some new blasters to my collection. My current collection only consists of 6 blasters, which are the AccuStrike Falcon Fire, 3 Modulus blasters, the Doomlance Persuader, and the Elite XD Glow Shot. All of the other blasters are currently, well, practically in storage until I can find anybody who would be willing to buy them and give them some good homes to take care of. So, of course, this story isn't exactly over, because even though 2011 to 2013 were the biggest years of which I had managed to add more Nerf blasters to my collection, 2014 to 2016, they were just as good, really, with additions of other blasters including the AccuStrike blasters, the Modulus blasters, Doomlance blasters, and Zombie Strike blasters, of course. Zombie Strike blasters eventually came out after the Elite series premiered in 2012, and the Zombie Strike series premiered around the end of 2013 for the first time. We started seeing blasters from that lineup, including the Sling Fire, Hammer Shot, and Sledge Fire. And all of these blasters were actually pretty awesome. But by today's standards, you would know exactly how many of our Nerf blasters that we have today perform in the same way as the original Elite series blasters have, shooting darts at least 75 feet. But, of course, if you've seen Random Shadow 09's various videos that detail as to how certain Nerf blasters aren't exactly made to have darts being shot up to 75 feet, then it's pretty clear by now that, well, not every blaster is made exactly to have darts being shot at 75 feet in range. Although they do have ranges that are peculiarly close to it, or ranges that are even further back. So, that's just kind of what's going on right now, and I almost feel like it should be clear that Nerf should do some tweaking to the internals of most of today's Nerf blasters to try to get them to shoot darts at the right range, at the ranges that they're being advertised, to say the least. But I guess for right now, the story of which that I had my Nerf blaster collection grow so large practically is besides the point as to how many blasters I managed to collect over the years. So, of course, with the N-Strike blasters, now it's not really clear as to how many blasters specifically I've collected from each lineup, thus tailoring it to how many blasters I have overall by today's standards. Then it's pretty clear right now that you would know exactly how many blasters I would have. With the N-Strike Elite lineup, I was able to get in total 21 blasters. They include the Recon, Raider, Maverick, Alpha Trooper, Barricade, Nightfinder, Stampede, Vulcan, Long Strike, Long Shot, and a few others. With the Elite lineup, it was almost around the same, with blasters including the Rampage, Hailfire, Retaliator, Fire Strike, a few other recolors from the N-Strike blasters, and a few others, of course. And, of course, with the Zombie Strike lineup, Angulus lineup, other lineups that we have today, there weren't too many blasters I was able to get out of each of these newer lineups. Though, for the Mega lineup, I was able to get in total the Centurion, Cyclone Shock, Big Shock, Magnus, and Thunderbow. And even though that there were some others out there that were existent, including the Roto Fury, the Twin Shock, the Hot Shock, and others, I just couldn't really get my hands on them all too well. Though there's probably a good chance that some Mega Blasters out there from today's lineup can actually be found in stores, even some that are older out there. So I might go on and get those if I can. As for the Zombie Strike lineup, I have some blasters from that series as well, and they included the Hammershot, Slingfire, Crossfire, Sledgefire, and a few others in fact. But I think most impressively, I feel like that each and every one of these lineups out there really drew some inspiration for me to keep going, because certain blaster designs, functions, features, performance, and others, they really had me going so well just to collect a lot of blasters from any lineup that I could find, just so I'd be able to have fun. And so, of course, I can't exactly count all the blasters because I have already sold some of them, but for the ones I have now, I could just go right on ahead and count. And so, it's a cinch. But unfortunately, as I've said, I have sold some of my blasters from any lineup whatsoever. And so, I don't know if I would be able to count every single one of them. But of course, 6 is how many blasters I currently got. Though, I do still have a lot of older blasters with me. But they won't count because they're no longer going to be considered a part of my collection. So 6, of course, as I've said, all 6 of them are 3 Modulus blasters, the Doom Lens Persuader, the Elite XD Glow Shot, and of course the AccuStrike Falcon Fire. Some more blasters will be added to my collection though, and they will be newer ones. But of course it will take time for me to actually do so. But until then, I sure hope that you enjoyed this edition of Nerf Secrets Revealed, and I also hope that you stay tuned for part 4 of the 4-in-1 episode marathon for today. And if you want to see more or go down to my channel, make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.